I got 10 years to fill a stadium, but only 2 minutes to fill your cranium. Humble the poet, signing in.
Today I'm going to tell you a story about why my teeth are fake. But first, we gotta brush our beard. So once upon a time, I was 10 years old and we went on a skating trip. The thing was, I didn't have any skates. Well, I actually did have skates, but they were some cheap ass, like you take a knife and you tie it to your boot type ghetto ass skate. So I was just like, forget it. I don't want these ghetto ass skates. I'm just not gonna skate. I'll just sit and watch other people skate. So here I am, watching other people skate, trying to amuse myself with my imagination, getting pretty bored. Then I find another friend who's tired of skating and he's like, let's play tag. So I'm like, okay, I love playing tag. We're running around the skating arena, not on the ice, but we're just running around playing tag. And I'm running, and all of a sudden I'm running along the boards. And I'm a little guy back then. So I'm running, he's chasing me, I'm running. So I'm running, and in my hand, my jacket gets stuck in like a nail for the wall that I was running along. And all of a sudden, while I'm running, it catches and I turn. So what happens is I'm running, and then it catches, and I go, ah! And pretty much, my teeth run into the ice hockey board like this. Now for you that live in countries where people don't play ice hockey, you may not know what the boards look like, but they're hard. So when you run into a board like this, your teeth are gonna get knocked out. So not only did my front two teeth get knocked out, I got knocked out. So I had a first of many things happen at the age of 10. And I saw stars. So I'm sitting there all like, and then my friend comes down to me, he's like, hey, are you okay? And he just stops and he's just staring at me in terror. And I'm sitting there like, why are you staring at me in terror? And I can feel like my mouth is kind of numb and the pain is kicking in. And he's like, dude, you don't have any front teeth anymore. And I was just like, what do you mean? And I was like, give me a mirror. And I remember there being no mirrors in this entire ice skating rink. And another kid in my class had this tiny mirror, like probably the size of like a giant quarter. So I remember holding this up and looking at my teeth and realizing that my teeth, they weren't completely gone, but they were chipped and they had turned into fangs. So now I had these two fangs. And at this point I also want to point out, these are not my baby teeth. My baby teeth had already fallen out. So these were my adult two front teeth. And if you know anything about teeth, once the adult teeth come in, they don't grow back. So here I am staring at the little reflection of my now pointed teeth. I felt like a vampire and I was unable to process it. This is what we call a surreal moment. Well, what the surreal moment meant for me was this just couldn't be happening. This can't be happening. I don't know what's happening. And then you start to panic and you start to freak out, as any kid would do. Shit, for real, any adult got their front two teeth knocked out, they might freak out too. I didn't know what to do. I started imagining all the worst case scenarios, having to live the rest of my life, not having front teeth, just being able to stick a straw straight in my mouth and put it all the way in the back of my throat. I didn't know what to do. And I was freaking out and I started crying and there was blood everywhere and it was just a very scary situation. Teachers came, took care of me. My parents came, picked me up. Went straight to the dentist, had some emergency surgery, had to get a root canal, had to get a couple other things done, and they put in these caps. And all of a sudden, I had these fake little front teeth. Now, these aren't the teeth that you see here right now, but it was the beginning. Eventually, those teeth kept falling out because they were just temporary, and I eventually had to get something put in called crowns. Now, I want you to think about this for a second, because my teeth are this big, and they were this big when I was 10. So I was walking around looking like a saber-toothed tiger for a while until my face grew into my teeth. And those crowns stuck with me up until last year when I got them replaced for these brand new crowns. And if you listen to the audiobook of Unlearn, that's actually the week after I got my front teeth replaced. So I sound a little bit funny. So what can we learn from this, Humble? Well, what we can learn is when things happen, freaking out doesn't make anything better. Take a couple seconds, take a couple minutes, calm down, and evaluate what's gonna happen. Sure, I was young, I was afraid, I didn't know what to do. But what ended up happening was things got taken care of slowly. And sure, my friends teased me. My nickname was Chicklets in school. You know, a lot of people like the front teeth now. With a big beard, it's the only thing that shows when I smile. It's only one piece. It can't come out. But yeah, I got a little bit of cosmetic surgery done. When unexpected things happen, nothing good comes from freaking out. We need to take a breath, think about what's happening, and think about what we can do to address it. Now, all we can do with life is we can hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Again, being 10 years old, I didn't know about emergency dental surgery. I didn't know about crowns. I didn't know about any of these things. So for me, it was the end of my world. But that's the case for a lot of the problems that we encounter. We think they're the end of the world, but really they're not. And the best thing that helps us is time. But Humble, what if my problem is a lot worse than my two front teeth coming out and I want to freak out? Then what? Well, my handsome friend, again, you can't control what happens to you. You can only control how you deal with it. And ask yourself, when does freaking out ever make anything better. Now, is this an easy thing to do? Hell no. But is it worth putting the effort in to do it? Hell yeah. Again, we can't control what happens to us, but we can control our attitudes and our efforts towards those things and how we want to make them better. As the Dalai Lama says, when we meet real tragedy in life, we can react in two ways. Either by losing hope and falling into self-destructive habits, or by using that challenge to find some inner strength. This is also a great reminder that I'm a klutz and I do stuff like running into walls. Those have permanent damage, like losing your front teeth. So sometimes when things happen to us, we think the tragedy of it is going to be much larger than it really is. Let's just take an extra breath and let time play things out, because sometimes we don't know what's going to be a tragedy and what's going to be a triumph. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. If you like the way I think and the things I say, do check out my books, my babies. Unlearn. Get yourself a copy at unlearn101.com, humblethepoet.com, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere else that sells books online. I don't want you to miss any of my videos, so instead of simply subscribing, please click the notification button beside the subscribe button. That is a little bell if you're on mobile, or a little gear if you're on the computer. I really appreciate the time you took to watch this. Please share this with somebody that you care about, or somebody that you don't. Much love. So the fear is, if you talk about sex, then you're encouraging it. And if you try to educate people about sex, then you're encouraging it. And if you even mention the word sex, you're encouraging it. The problem is, if we don't talk about it, the kids are still going to learn about it from another source. With the internet, we have a lot of information at our fingertips. But all that information isn't good and accurate information. Or as DJ Khaled says, accurate. So if we don't start the dialogue, then we would be causing more damage than the fear that we had of bringing it up in the first place.